Today's Coaching Coordinator podcast is about coaching the basics. And to emphasize some of those ideas, I've put together from the Cool Clinic 3 NFL coaches and their thoughts and philosophy on how they approach the basics. This is a short one today, but I think what these guys have to say apply to any position in your approach in coaching. And this is either going to help you clarify some of the things that you do and give you validation for it, maybe help you focus on some things, because we could get lost in camp. We feel like we have all kinds of time, but the fact of the matter is we have to have a sense of urgency, and that means being able to focus on the basics. And starting things off for us today is the offensive line coach for the Buffalo Bills, Bobby Johnson. I had the opportunity to meet Bobby Johnson way back when I was coaching high school football, and he was a college coach at Miami University in Ohio. He was recruiting my school, and this is a guy who's come a long way by doing things right. And in this, he's going to talk about how he approaches things and how he handles the basics.
For us here at the Bills, and we throw the ball probably 70% of the time. And I've had a lot of guys reach out to me and talk to me about, watching a game on TV. They go, man, you went, in the playoffs against the Ravens, we didn't run the ball until the 19th play of the game. I've been here a couple years, and against the Jets in consecutive years, we've thrown the ball 20 plus straight times to start the game off. So, when you got a quarterback who's special and skill players who are special, you do what they do best. And I know a lot of us as line coaches, we talk about, running the ball and running off the ball. And trust me, that's in my DNA as well. But at the end of the day, I want to win. And whatever it takes to win is what I'm going to do. And we say around here, we tell the line, their job is this: block what's called, however long you have to block it. Our job is simple. We have two things. We protect the quarterback inside out, and we move the line of scrimmage. Those are our two jobs. And that's what I coach. But we do throw the ball more often than not. So one of the things we stress is setting the pocket. And I'm going to go through some drills, some techniques that we do every day. I don't do a lot of drills. That's one thing that I don't do. And here's why. I worked for a great man, rest his soul, Terry Hepner, who used to always tell us as young coaches, have a plan, work the plan, and plan for the unexpected. And, he used to say things like, don't get pregnant with ideas, just have ideas on top of ideas, and it's better to have stuff that you can hang your hat on than to have a ton of ideas that you're not sure work. So I try to keep my plans small. I try to work the plan, but I also have a contingency plan where if I don't have enough guys or enough tools, that we can still get the work done. Some of the things that I believe in, and the reason I say this, and I know a lot of you coaches out there know this, but there might be one young coach out there like me years ago that had to hear this for it to resonate. And my big thing is teach the how and why of our drills as early as I can. In the National Football League, we get new players every year via draft and free agency, and they come from places, and there's things they've done, things that they've been taught, and you got to explain to them right off the bat why you're doing something. Because if they don't think there's a purpose for what you're doing, they're not going to buy in. I believe in teaching what you believe in. Don't teach what you can't defend. If somebody hears something tonight and they think it's a good drill, but they don't actually believe in it, they're doing it for drill's sake, don't teach it. Don't teach it unless you can defend it. There's flaws in everything, but make sure you can defend what you're teaching to your players at whatever level you're at. Teach what you found to be tried and true. I believe it was, some clinics I've sat in before where I've tried to teach something that I didn't know was tried and true. And when it didn't work, I didn't know how to fix it. And that's the biggest thing, is if something breaks down, you got to know how to fix it. And then don't be afraid to customize it, especially with, professional athletes. Not everybody's built the same. Not everybody has the same tools. I'm going to, this weekend we're in rookie mini camp, and, I've got 5 rookies here, and 3 of which were drafted. 2 of them are 6'8" with 35-inch arms. They're going to be able to do some things that the other guy who's 6'4" with 32-inch arms can't do. And that's okay. But I have to find a way to get them functional to do their 2 jobs.
The Titans can really run the football. They've done an outstanding job with their zone scheme, their outside zone scheme, and the play action off of it. And that's exactly what Keith Carter, offensive line coach for the Titans, talked about at the Cool Clinic. But he started off with some fundamental things that are very important to them. And for him, it starts with effort, as he explains here.
Okay, I couldn't do this talk without talking to you guys about basically the first message. And I have always believed in effort. I've always believed in effort and toughness and physicality and all those things. And then when I worked in Seattle, Coach Carroll, Pete Carroll, we were about to have rookie mini camp, and he had a meeting with us, and he said, "Here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to coach your ass off tomorrow, but the first thing I want you to coach is effort." And that always hit me and stuck with me. And that's the first thing we coach here. All right. If somebody has a shitty effort play, we are on them constantly. And it's not, we're going to either praise or criticize effort. And then when we're jogging with them back to the huddle, get to technique. Okay. Here's the next thing, the foundation of everything we do. Okay. We believe in 100% that there's a certain style of play we want to capture. And that is the most important thing. I know. And when like that first bullet point says our style of play is more important than any technique we teach. I know technique's important. We teach technique here in Tennessee. Okay. I promise you we do, but that is not what's most important in our opinion. All right. The three things that we try to earn as an identity day in and day out is speed off the ball, anticipating the snap count, and running off the football. We don't do board drills. Okay. We don't try and keep our feet shoulder width apart. None of that. It is a full sprint. I tell the guys, act like you just stole something and you're trying to run to get away and take off. Okay. The next thing is physicality and toughness. I think everybody emphasizes that. We do our best to drill that in how we practice. Okay. We try to practice and drill the way we play. And then of course, finish. All right. And that is where everything starts for us. And again, I feel like I've been the luckiest guy in the world because I haven't been on a staff yet with bad people or people that weren't aligned philosophically where we could come together. And Coach Vrabel is everything for him is effort and finish. And so it's like a match made in heaven, and there's no safe place. So
to close things out today, we have Adam Stenavich, offensive line coach for the Green Bay Packers, talking about the basics. And he starts with things like stance and explains how important stance is to his players, that paying attention to the little things in stance are going to help them go a long way. First and foremost, of not being able to tip off those guys who are looking at everything they do. So again, a focus on the fundamentals here from Coach Adam Stenavich from the Green Bay Packers.
For the basics for us, and one thing, that you have to start with anything is just your stance. Okay. And one thing when you're teaching these guys, it's a balanced stance. You got to have balance. You got to be able to cut off from one stance, and that same stance, you got to be able to block on the play side and attack in a different direction. You have to be able to pass set. You have to be able to do everything that you do out of a balanced stance. Okay. And yeah, you can't tip it. And one thing that, the higher up you go, the more you realize how much they're studying your stances, how much they're, reading what you're doing, whether 2-point, 3-point, he's leaning this way, his feet are a little less staggered. All that stuff is critical in defensive keys. They're trying to read to get any advantage they can off that. And one guy we have, David Bakhtiari, is extremely conscious of that and just does a great job of being very sound with his stance, trying to always be in the same stance for every play. And then again, practicing all that, your 3-point stances, your 2-point stances, making sure these guys are conscious of getting all their reps from both stances so they can be successful out of everything. Okay. And then the other thing is communication. We've got to be great communicators up front. And we say, hear the call, know the call, then execute. All right. So understand what you're doing, know the ins and outs of the play, of the scheme, whatever it is, the different looks you might see, and then be ready to execute. And then our mindset and everything we do, we want violent get off, whether that's getting across the line of scrimmage in the run game, whether that's in pass protection, we want to explode out of our stance. Everything we're doing, we got that violent mentality of getting off and beating the defense off the line of scrimmage. Okay. And then finish. the one thing I'm very fortunate to coach a really good group of guys that really buy into this, but finishing your defender, not only in the run game, whether that's putting them down in the ground or finishing to the ball, once that ball carrier blows by you, getting to the ball, but just having that finish mentality, that's something that you just got to keep hammering day in and day out. And then eventually, once it all sets in, the guys take off with it.
Again, just a quick one here today for you, but I think some important things as you get into camp. Again, for some of you, this is just a reminder, things that you already know, validation for the things that you do. And maybe for some of you younger guys, as Coach Johnson said, something that really resonates with you, that gives you that focus you need to make your guys better here in 2021. All of these talks are available on CoachTube, and I will share the link in the show notes. These were outstanding clinics. If you coach offensive line, or if you really coach any position, there's a ton to learn from these guys. There's a reason they've made it to the level that they're at, and there's a ton to take away. So don't think that these are guys that are in the NFL. This doesn't apply to me. I'm telling you, there was a lot there to take away from, and you could save on that with the code that I'm going to share with you in the show notes. Follow all we're doing at coachandcoordinator.com, and follow me on Twitter at Coach K. Grabowski.